Isn't it nice to be alive, to know that somewhere out there, there are family and friends who have passed on before us, and they know what we're doing. They're up to date with us. They're trying to be in our lives in a positive way. And they're not particularly bothered about your religion, your colour, your ethnic origin. They're not worried about all that stuff. What they're concerned about is how good in heart you are. That you, and before that them, were a good example to humanity of the things that we think we should believe in. Now, they've already moved on, and they've already come to grips with the things that maybe they could have done better, they could have done it in another way. And we're still kind of like wandering through the wilderness, trying to find what's the correct way for ourselves. Now, I'm in good old Uncle Sam's America, so I think I should relate to something connected with America. As I go into my pocket, something I prepared earlier, I bring out to all of you, what is that? What's the importance of the dollar? Well, the importance of the dollar is not the fact that it's a currency, because you can't buy anything with it unless you go to the dollar store. What's important about it is what's on the back of it. And what it says is, in God we trust. That's what it says. What that means is that people in times gone by just felt there had to be a need to have that trust in God. That society needed something to hang on to, something to relate to. And that in God we trust doesn't mean it's Christian. It doesn't mean it's Buddhistic, Hindu, Sikhism, Mohammedism. It doesn't mean it's any particular denomination or religion. It means that all of us personally can have a trust in something. Now, I believe we should have trust in God. But I also believe that we should have a trust in ourselves. We should have a trust in ourselves to do the right thing, to conduct ourselves in the correct way, to create a society that's worthwhile to pass on to our children and our grandchildren. It's a responsibility that we have. And all too often, people talk a good game, but are they playing a good game? All too often, people capitulate responsibilities for things onto other people and say it's not my job. Everything to do with society is our job. It's our job to be that walking, living example of what things should be. And then you won't need to worry about whether you're going to heaven. It doesn't matter where you go after you die. It's what you leave behind that's important. I always say to my clients, the only thing you take with you is your memories. You don't take anything else. Your nice kind of Nissan car that you're driving around that's got kind of holes and rust in it, somebody else will inherit and use. Somebody that's driving around in a car that they think is a very good Subaru, you mean they're at the top of their game. Somebody else, well, you've got a Subaru, don't you? will inherit that, and they'll find another use for it. All that alcohol that you've been storing in the kitchen under the sink and not telling anybody about, that you have a little tipple when you get fed up, somebody else will find that and they'll drink it. So in those memories that you take away with you when you leave this world. They're not memories connected with the automobile. They're not memories connected with the alcohol, although you might mix your spirits in this kind of weird sense of way. But it's not to do with any of those things. Memories, and you'll find when you look back on your life, and some of you, like me, that's still a youngster, does not have too much life to look back on, but you look back on your life and you realize the best memories you had, and still hopefully have it, are the memories that you're sharing with other people. The animals as well. Let's not exclude the animals, because we spoke about that at the beginning, all the dogs and the cats and the budgerigars and canaries. We'll keep our thoughts in for them, because they're important for people as well. And I always remember a client that I had a number of years ago. And I said to her, I've got your husband here in the spirit world, dear. And she looked at me and she said, never mind my husband, what about my dog? So the husband was kicked into touch, and the dog had a higher level of importance. It doesn't matter the level of importance that we bring to the connections we have in life. It's the connections we have in life. It's the things that we share together when we're together. They're the important things that create the memories. Greatest joys I've had in life has been when I'm giving, not when I'm receiving. When I'm giving to, I'm sharing with, I'm part of, I'm enjoying with. They're the memories in life that I cherish. The times that I've been able to say, look, I just want to do that for you. I'm not looking for anything in return. I just want to share that with you. They're the best memories I have. And they're the memories of being with, being part of. And I would ask you to think about that as you go through life. So we've got to try as human beings to look at where our priorities are. Where do our priorities lie? And are we addressing our priorities in the lives of the people about us? The hardest part is to love the people you don't like. But that's the hardest part, to love the people you don't like. And to be able to find within them something that says something must have taken these people to the place they're in at the moment, that they have to behave the way they do. And so in that sense of those things, instead of being critical about it, we should really feel an empathy to try this, an empathy to try to support and not to be judgmental. We often use the terminology, there for the grace of God go I. And it's really true. You know, I look back on my 50 odd years of mediumship, and it is quite a long time, but I do feel blessed. I feel blessed that I've had the opportunity to spend quality time with people who are looking for something, who are searching for something, who are in pain about something, and have the opportunity to bring some closure to them in some way. So I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be able to travel around the world and meet so many interesting people and end up in Jersey. But, you know, but I've been so blessed to have had those experiences that many people never have in their life. And to be able to meet such a myriad of people from different ways of thinking. So I don't look back on my life with a sense of regret. Not at all. I look back on my life with a sense of gratitude. If I was to die tomorrow, I only have one fear. Just one fear. not about going to heaven or hell. If I go to hell, I'll be with all my friends. But my one fear in life is when I go into the spirit world and I meet my grandmother. That's my one fear in life. And it's she's standing there, and she was rather a kind of big lady. And so she would kind of put her arms like this, and she would look at you. And I would just hate her to say to me, what have you done? That would be my fear. And my joy would be to go into the spirit world and meet her. She's got a smile on her face. She says, good for you. And all of us have the capacity to change things for people if we want to. And it's our job to make the time, create the time that we can bring about change. And if you have any unfinished business with anybody, finish the business. Make your peace with it. Ask yourself the question, could I have done any better? Should I have done any better? What more can I still do to make it better? And take that step. We should never be in the situation. I had this all the time with my clients, all the time. They come to see me, and through the communication comes, I have regrets about this. I have regrets about that. I should have done this. I should have done that. I'm sorry I didn't make that. I'm sorry I didn't change that. I'm sorry I let that go. It's like closing the barn door after the horses run away. Don't have those thoughts of guilt or those thoughts of regrets in your life. Don't do that. That's a self-punishment. But more have the satisfaction of knowing I resolved it. Or maybe it doesn't resolve itself, but you have the satisfaction of knowing you tried to resolve it. You have the satisfaction of knowing you did everything you could to resolve it. Bearing in mind it takes two people to dance tango. And if there's only one of you dancing, then it doesn't make it so easy. But the important thing is solve the problems while you have the opportunity to solve them. And my grandmother used to say to me a lot of years ago, particularly in personal relationships, never go to bed on an argument. Never do that. Try to find solutions. So your job for the remainder of what's left of this weekend and next weekend until you come back and get another dose of guilt. Your job is to try to put into place this week that's in front of us a healing process of healing the things that need to be. Now, I just want to say I'm not overly generous, so I'm taking my dollar bill back. But if anybody needs a buck, have a word with Shark. Thank you very much.